All right, so in this video, we're gonna talk about how to study for exams. Now, just hold up a second. I know what you're probably thinking right now. Hold up, didn't you already talk about this? Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna watch the same thing over again. All right, let's see what we got. How to do the Dolly Parton challenge. Okay, let's go. So in the last video, I talked about how to study effectively for exams as a college student. And quick side note, if you haven't had a chance to watch that video, it's all good. I'm gonna leave a little notification somewhere. It's probably gonna pop above my head in just a second. And I'll leave a link in the description below. But in this video, we're gonna talk about how to study effectively for a college exam as an engineering major. Now, I was personally an engineering major and it was a struggle for sure, definitely. But I learned a lot. I graduated, so hopefully I can teach you the tips that I learned and we can get this thing going. What's going on, guys? It's Darren Jackson here, and I wanted to make this video because I realized when I wrapped up the last video, I kind of reflected more about how I studied personally as an engineer major. Now, as I've said before, the last video was more on a general basis and it was meant to work for the majority of your classes, and it can't work for all of your classes. But when it came to me specifically, studying for engineering, there's a couple of things that I did that I may have not mentioned in the last video, and I was a bit of a hypocrite on some of certain things. Well, I wouldn't say hypocrite, it's a bit of a strong word, but I wasn't a little specific on certain things that I mentioned in the last video. So in this video, the goal is to reach out to the engineer majors and honestly any STEM majors and kind of give you an idea of what I did specifically, especially the last couple of years of my college career. And if you like this video so far and you want to help me help this channel grow over time, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, and definitely consider subscribing. I definitely can't progress in this YouTube path without you guys, so please feel free. Now I'm gonna be talking about 6 different strategies that I have that I utilize personally when it came to studying for engineering exams. I'm gonna say in a step-by-step process. So it's gonna be from before I take the exam, leading up to the exam, and like right before. So just keep that in mind, make sure you watch the entire thing. And all right, so the first thing you really need to make sure you wanna do is ask the professor for questions. So now me personally, with the classes that I had, my professor would always start the class with asking us if there's any questions. And after a while, we got threatened to ask questions because if we didn't, then he gave us like a surprise quiz or something. And I hated that. So just make sure you ask the professor questions. If you got stuck on a homework problem, you're not gonna surprisingly just pop the answer into your head. The professor is there for a reason. I can remember so many times I was pacing up and down my room trying to figure out what stuff meant, and seriously, it was annoying. All right, so the flag on the pole has pressure, air going to it, but then the actual flag on the pole itself weighs something and it's putting weight on the ground. Why am I trying to worry about how much a little bolt is at the bottom? Should I just be concerned about, getting a better flagpole? I'm not trying to work with flagpoles. I spent hours trying to answer one question on a homework problem when I could have answered the other 5 in the same amount of time and then taken the time the next day to talk to the professor. And about a minute later, we figure out that I missed something because that's what engineering is about, right? So another thing that really helped me is YouTube. Go figure. That's why I'm here. Hopefully I'm helping you guys so far, and I've been helping you guys with the last videos. But YouTube saved my life. Like, it is crazy. And I'll make sure that I drop some YouTubers down in the description below as well. Definitely YouTubers that helped me through my entire college career that are specifically making engineering videos on specific problems that we're all gonna face at some point. So I'll definitely leave some links in the description so you guys can check those out. But after a while, it may be difficult to understand what the professor is saying. Sometimes they're rushing on the things. It honestly just depends on what professor you have. So I always found it as a good idea to reflect back on YouTube and just kind of figure out what is being said. And mind you, these YouTubers that are making these channels, they're getting monetized to provide great content. So they're gonna keep trying to provide great content. So they're gonna speak clearly and they're gonna make sure they dumb down things so much to where anybody can understand it. And honestly, it makes it easier for everybody, even myself at the time. Okay, so this third thing, honestly, it just depends on if you can afford it. I was afraid to, well, not really afraid to. I didn't really want to do it at the beginning, but use Chegg. It's okay. So now, here's the thing with Chegg that you need to remember. It's $15 a month, so it is a bit pricey. Not everybody has a job. Most people are having their parents help them with funds like food and textbooks and stuff like that, or whatever scholarships or grants and loans don't pay for. And you really don't want to spend the extra money on Chegg. But Chegg is really important, especially when you're doing a lot of textbook work. Chegg has this huge database of problems straight from the textbook and problems that people have uploaded the answers to. So it's definitely a good look. But a couple things you want to keep in mind is, again, it's $15 a month. So please guys, share. Share is caring, man. Like I said in the first video, we're all a team here. So don't be afraid to give somebody your username and password. Charge them $7.50 a month, whatever. But another thing you want to keep in mind is that even the problems that are straight from the textbook aren't always correct. And you definitely want to keep a lookout on the problems that people upload, because I've gone through a lot of engineering example problems that didn't make sense and that they were wrong. So you really need to pay attention to those problems. You definitely want to use Chegg, not to just rush to get answers because you decide to do your homework 30 minutes before class starts, but to do it because maybe it'll help you figure out a step that you missed that got you stuck on the whole problem. So you need to make sure you understand why the answer is what it is. So hopefully it makes sense that it's the correct answer. So just keep that in mind as well. The fourth thing you want to do, and this is going to take place around the time that you're studying, is take breaks. There's so many times where I'll just get super stressed out because I'm spending 3 hours on one problem, which sounds ridiculous, but again, if you're an engineering major of any sort, you know what I'm talking about. You get a homework assignment that's 4 problems long. Most people will think, oh, I'm just burning through this in 10 minutes. No. If you do it right, problem 1 may take you 45 minutes to take care of. So make sure you get up, walk around, take a break, breathe, get something to drink, do some stretches, whatever. You want to keep your mind right because engineering is super intense. And the last thing you want to do is just get consumed by it and make stupid mistakes and get super stressed out for the exam. So take breaks. It's gonna help out a lot. Number 5, it's pretty funny when I thought about this. So in the last video, I said to not have all-nighters, not at all. But what I meant was try not to have all-nighters like the day before the exam, because lack of sleep, probably gonna not be as focused. The exam is pretty obvious, but there are gonna be a lot of times where you're gonna have to sacrifice some nights, especially when you're engineer major. Now I remember this one assignment that we had where I had to use ANSYS, and shout out to all my ANSYS users. It sucks when you don't get it from the beginning, but we had to do this fluid analysis, and I spent hours on it. But I knew that once I got it done, I was obviously gonna be ahead of schedule, and it wasn't necessarily difficult. It was just very time consuming with rendering and making sure you're computing information correctly. So you're gonna have to sacrifice some nights to stay up and get things done, but it's beneficial because again, you get ahead, and as long as it's not the night before an exam, then you're gonna be fine. And make sure you kind of do it in a strategic manner to where you know that the next day you may not have as many things to take care of. Like today you have 4 classes, but tomorrow you have 2. And they don't start until mid-afternoon, so you can sleep in a little bit. But that's just something you have to do at your own discretion, so it's just something you gotta figure out later on. All right, so this last one, you guys have to understand, man, this is so important. This is like an engineer's Bible. I feel like if there was a book on engineering, this should be some of the first words on it. When you take an exam, when you're in the middle of an exam, remember, partial credit is so important. Seriously, it is the most important thing that you could ever remember on the exam. Most engineering exams, similar to the homework, are gonna be between 4 to 6 problems long. And they give you 3 hours to take these exams for a reason. Seriously. One problem is gonna take you probably 45 minutes to do. So with that being said, it means there's a lot of information you're gonna have to write down to get to whatever answer based off of whatever question that you have. So my advice to you on that is remember that partial credit is going to save your life. Keep in mind, you may not get the correct answer at the end, but you may go step by step correctly, but you just messed up at the very end, and it's all good. So instead of getting 30 out of 30 points, for showing partial credit, you may get 15 out of 30. You may get 25 out of 30. But make sure you do it in a neat fashion so your professor can keep up, because even if you do step by step and you may have missed step 2, step 3, step 4, if you do it neatly and they can follow along pretty well and they can clearly understand the mistake you made to get to the wrong answer, they're gonna check off partial credit. They're gonna reward you for trying. Professors, especially engineering professors, 9 times out of 10, they're not trying to fail you. They wanna help you as much as they can, but you gotta help them help you. So make sure that you use partial credit. Seriously, it helped me so much, so just try that. It's gonna work out for you, you're gonna be fine. So if you've made it to the end of this video, first I just wanna say thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I really hope that what I've learned throughout my college career, you guys can take as advice and hopefully some type of support, especially for you engineer majors out there, and hopefully it helps you guys improve your study tactics and help you get more mentally prepared for those exams. You're not stressing out as much. You know what you're getting yourself into. You know you expect the best possible outcome. If you have any comments or you want to share how you study for engineering exams or any exams in general, make sure you leave a comment below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Remember guys, this is my third video. This is brand new. I started this channel a couple of weeks ago, just hoping that all goes well. And I can't grow without you guys. As I said earlier, it's not just me. I'm having to make sure I release the right content that you guys actually enjoy. So if you guys enjoyed this, also make sure you leave a like. I really appreciate it. And tune in for when I release my next content. But until then, take care.